welcome to another episode of The Pro and the Potato. It has been a long time since I've had an episode for you guys, but I'm going to more than make up for it in this episode. As you can see on the screen right now, joining me in this episode is Bolo. Bolo, if you're not familiar, is a player for TSM. He's your Dreamhack Montreal champion. He's also a YouTuber with over 800,000 subscribers and a Twitch streamer with over 300,000 followers. So, yeah, kind of a big deal here. What's up, Bolo? How you doing, man?
Oh, so that was quite the intro. Not gonna lie, I'm doing good, doing good.
Well, thanks for joining.
Asking.
Thanks for joining me, man. I know, I last time I talked to you, like we were eating Korean barbecue. You were carrying me in the Creator Cup, and I kind of got the impression there from you that you were going to go pro, and I could tell you were really, really excited about it. And I knew at that moment, like, dude, I've got to get a pro and potato with Bolo after he, kind of gets settled in. But I just kind of want to start out here by asking you, like, how are you feeling right now? Because again, thinking back to that conversation, which was several months ago, before anything was announced or anything, I could tell how excited you were. How are you feeling now?
Especially considering like everything, it's like it's not new anymore. Like I've kind of gotten, comfortable with everything. Like I've adapted. I'm feeling pretty good. Like early on, I was kind of iffy. Like, oh, I'm going pro. There's been a lot of build up, a lot of hype, a lot of speculation. And it's finally happening, and I've definitely recovered from the beginning, and I'm feeling again good and confident.
I think that whenever I look at your performance so far in Pro League, I like split it between pre-Raleigh Major and post-Raleigh Major qualifier. Even going into the qualifier, you guys played lights out and qualified out of North America for the Raleigh Major. So you mentioned there that you kind of recovered, since joining Pro League. How were you rating before? How are you feeling, and how would you rate your performance before the Raleigh Major qualifier there?
Before the qualifiers, we only had BO once. Like we were not, really used to BO3. So like I'm pretty sure like everybody on the team, they're like, their confidence was down. Like, oh, we're losing like all the BO ones. Like, what is going on? Like I was just not doing good. Like mentally I wasn't doing good, and like in game it wasn't working. And so the BO3 started coming around, like the quals, and started coming together in a way, and just yeah.
What's so different between a best of one and best of three for you? Is there anything that jumps out to you that's like I know that I'm always going to be better in a best of three, or is it something you have to learn and are starting to adjust to?
I think it's definitely something of more of like a learning and adjusting, because I've said it before, like BO1s are just not forgiving. Like you mess up one round, 2 rounds, like there you go. That's like out of 7, that's pretty big compared to a BO3. And like usually we take a little bit, like us, like TSM as a team, we usually take a little bit to like find our groove, like like the second, third round. Like you'll even see in like our BO3s, like the first map we start playing in like third round, I guess, like actually playing in the third round. Like we start working together as a team, everything, like we play how we should be playing. And again, BO1's not forgiving, and sometimes it's just like it just snowballs and it just goes downhill.
Yeah, I'm sure it's mentally tough to lose a couple rounds in a best of one, because you feel like, wow, are we going to be able to climb out of this? Whereas in a best of 3, you're like, okay, well, even if we drop this map, we have a chance to come back. We can start over. So
Yeah,
I definitely can see where you're coming from there. You mentioned, the decision to go pro and a lot of the hype going into it. I wanted to talk a little bit about that. Like, how long have you known, like, I want to go pro? Like, that's what I want to do.
well, like I've wanted to go pro since like I started playing the game. Like I was, when I was like 14, I was trying out for like ESL teams. I was playing, I was playing Go fours here and there, but like I was trying out for ESL like I even tried out for it was called Nemesis back in the day, and it was like there was Pojo was on it. I think like Zilchi, Hot and Cold, Mint, all those guys. Like when I was 14,
Wow.
and it like it was like deep down I've always wanted to do it, but I always told everybody like like maybe not, I just again just kind of like wanted to like quiet like the thing, like kind of like leave me alone, like let me stop asking me about the pro thing. But again, deep down, deep down, I really wanted to play.
So who was asking you about the pro thing? Was it other pros, or was it like your fans from your YouTube and Twitch, or like who was asking you?
It was mainly the fans. Once I like established a fan base, it was yeah, it was just that. Because the pros, they were like, they were very like indifferent about it. Like, oh, if he goes pro, he goes pro. If he doesn't, whatever. It's just
Well,
that.
I can attest to that because I've been doing this series, the Pro Potato, for I guess over 2 years now. And I have been requested the whole time, pretty much every episode, at least somebody in the comments, get Bolo on, get Bolo on, get Bolo on. And I'm like, dude, I would love to have Bolo on, but I mean, I kind of need him to go pro first, that.
Yeah.
Uh, but I mean, I think that everybody kind of saw it coming for a while, in all honesty. And I mean, obviously, there was a ton of hype to this announcement, and I think that we've seen a great reception to you playing. It seems like TSM always draws the biggest crowds, at least in NA when you're playing, and it's been great for the scene overall. So, what was that conversation
Definitely.
like with like your parents? I mean, was that tough? Like, how did you one day say, "Hey, I'm not planning on going to college immediately," or you're taking the normal path. I want to be a pro gamer. I want to play professionally in Rainbow Six Siege.
That discussion with my parents was really like my parents have been supportive throughout my whole entire like childhood. Like they just like they wanted me to be happy and they let me do what would make me happy essentially. But the whole not going to college, focusing on, like I guess in a way it's just Siege. It was pretty early on, like probably when I was like 17, like right as I turned 17 or something like that. I was like, because like the money was there. I was making money. They saw potential in it. I saw a future in it, and it was just like I want to I don't want to let this opportunity just fly by. I want to take advantage of it, use it as long as I can, build a brand, build a name, and just carry on with that. And I mean, it was basically like when I decided to go pro, like the team was like, yeah, we'll take you. You can get on our pro team, and we found an org. It was just like, yeah, I'm going pro. That was essentially the discussion with my parents, because they were just they were cool with everything. They were already aware of the whole no college, focus on content creation, focus on gaming. So it's just like, yeah, I'm going pro. That
How
was
did
basically it.
how did you end up on TSM with the roster that you currently have? I mean, how did you end up with this group of guys?
With this group of guys, like so, like as like people would assume that like everybody was like like crawling to me like, hey, join my team, join my team. These are the only guys that asked. Like there were CL teams asking me, but out of Pro League, they were like the only ones that like even showed any interest. So I was like, all right, you know, I'll see what's going on here. And I mean, I had experience with like Pojo. I had experience with Achieved back in the day. Um, but they saw an interest and they tried out, and I mean they liked it. And for the org thing, we just reached out. We just saw who would show interest and who would be like a good name for us. Like who would we want to represent? And of course, like deep down, like TSM was always like one of those orgs. Like, I hope TSM responds. I hope this and that. And surprisingly enough, they did respond back and they showed some interest. And we just we started talking and talking, and you know here we are.
Well, I was really excited to see TSM join the Rainbow Six Siege scene, and for them to pick up your roster. That's great, and I think it's a great match. And you guys are already producing. I mean, DreamHack Montreal champions is a big deal, and you're really just getting started. So you mentioned there for a second that a couple of Challenger League teams had approached you. Was there a part of you that thought, I want to start in Challenger League and work my way up? Was that appealing to you at all, or were you like straight like, I want to go to Pro League if I can?
Obviously, like I would want to start in Pro League. Like if there was no pro team that offered, I would have gone Challenger League. I would have gone, like I would have climbed the ladder essentially. But Pro League, those guys showed interest. I said, hey, sure, why not? I'll try it out. I'll see. And we're on a team now. But yeah, if that didn't happen, I would have definitely have gone like Challenger League, regardless, like of the whole content creation or anything like that. Because competitive Siege is where my like heart essentially lies in. Like I love the competitive aspect of Siege.
So you mentioned, kind of the hype around the decision for you to go pro. And I wanted to ask, like, was there a part of you that was nervous that you were going to like go pro and maybe not succeed, and then that was going to affect your content in the sense like, you're a gameplay content for the most part. You're known as like an excellent player. That's what your content has always been driven by. So was there a part of you that was scared that you were going to go into pro league and be, a mere mortal when you're playing against the best in the world, and then that was going to cause people to not be as interested in your content? Was that a fear?
Yeah, it was definitely in the back of my head when I first, I guess even announced it. All right, no, not even when I announced it. Like when I first like when I knew it was happening, I was like, okay, I'm going to go into pro league. It was in the back of my head. I didn't try to worry about it too much, but there was that possibility of like, say I go in there and I just start tanking. I just do not do good, and I would just like picture like like the numbers go down, all of that. But I at the same time I realized like I have a pretty supportive fan base, and they would understand a little bit. But again, I did picture the negative side of it.
So when you started seeing all the hype, like when does Bolo play and all that started hitting, like I remember after your first match, your first pro league match, you put out a tweet saying, "Hey, I've been off of social media for the last couple of days. Like I stayed away from everything." So that to me said that it was a big deal to you. But does the when does Bolo play? Did that all add to like the pressure for you, or did you not even pay attention to it?
I really didn't pay attention to any of that. Like before, like my first pro league game, after that I would like if it was game day, I was off Twitter. I wasn't doing anything. I didn't stream beforehand. I was just focused on me. Like I just wanted to clear my head as much as I could. Like the Windows Bolo play, I found that out like 2 days after it was like announced or whatever. So again, it's just just clearing the head, really like a big part of what I had to like try to focus on.
Well, getting back into your performance with TSM and how what's been going on lately, I think we said in the beginning that I think you have to kind of divide your performance before the Raleigh Major qualifies and after. So before the Raleigh Major quals, you said yourself that you didn't rate yourself very high. Since the Raleigh Major qualifiers, how are you rating yourself now?
Um, After Raleigh, I'm feeling pretty good. Like I'm on like different roles. Like initially, I was on more of like a like harder like flex like slash support, and now I'm on more of like a flex like entry kind of role. So it's like I'm stretching my legs essentially. Like I'm not restricted to just like kind of sitting back waiting for everything to happen and then doing it. I'm taking action, and that play style suits me more. And I just feel really comfortable compared to like first week like PL Bolo.
Yeah, I've seen even your former teammates say that Bolo is different on LAN. And is it a bigger deal for you to play on LAN or best of threes? Like, what makes the bigger difference for you and your uptick in performance?
It's mainly best of threes. It's not just LAN. LAN helps, but BO threes, I do pretty good in BO threes compared to my BO ones. Like there's definitely like an improvement, but like there's been online qualifiers like BO3s that I've done way better in than my BO1. And at LAN, it helps as well, just because like I'm an aim player, and LAN is like a cleaner version of Siege. Like shots register more. Yeah, there's not really like a peeker's advantage, so you can like hold angles better. Like, and it basically rewards like reaction time over like server based stuff. So again, as an aim player, that is the stuff I thrive on. So BO3s on LAN, like it's perfect, I guess.
Well, you mentioned kind of having a little bit of a role shift. Was that new for DreamHack Montreal, or was it shifting before then?
I would say just a little bit before DreamHack Montreal, like we were like, trying stuff out, like especially with the addition of Jarvis, like he's way more of a, I guess like a supportive role. Like he's like all about comms. He's all about like gathering info. So it's like, okay, he's here now. I can kind of just, go be like, I guess in a way, like a grunt. I can just go in like the head while he just sits back and just like relays information to everybody.
There's honestly a portion of your fan base that expects you to get every kill every round. It seems like. What would you say to them? Like, what do you want to say to them? Like, listen, guys, Pro League isn't like that. Like, is there something you want to say to them now?
I mean, I don't really know what to say to them because it's like there's always going to be those types of people. Like, no matter what, no matter what you say, no matter what you show them, there's always going to be that like small percentage that just like you can like, what are you doing, man? Like you frag out and ranked all the time. Like it's easy against diamonds, but it's not easy against pro. Like, yeah, of course it's not. It's completely different. I don't know. Again, never gonna escape it. It's always gonna be there. They're always gonna expect me to just run in a room without a drone and just headshot 5 people in like a matter of 2 seconds. So,
well,
yeah.
speaking of running into a room and killing everybody, I've got a clip that I want to show and get your thoughts on. This was from DreamHack Montreal. It was the championship match against Team Liquid. And I'm not going to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it yet. We'll let it roll, and then we'll come back in and talk about it.
And Billiards area while defending Blue Bar and Sunrise just get picked apart really quickly from repels on windows. There hasn't been a whole lot of map control garnered by attacking teams, but they've still been able to decipher the setup and pick it apart with relative ease. So here for TSM, they're going to have quite the horizontal spread across the main floor where their objective is located, but they'll have some free top control early on.
TSM attacking this Sunrise. They know that these guys are going to be extended into kitchen. I think TSM might overextend through office, and out of nowhere, Bolo's just in the site. What is going on? How is he even able to enter? Now he's got control. Hopefully, the bomb is being planted out of nowhere. TSM making an aggressive rush and a rush plant. This might work out for TSM.
Sexy King able to take down 2 there, but a trade out from Bolo. Now we stand at a 3v3 in the post plant scenario. Another one rotating down, but Pauly will get one. Bolo with 3 on the round now, looking for more. It's down to the 2v2. Sexy Cake and PSG collapsing from the blue bar in the kitchen area, trying to bring in some yokai drones. Drones on the attacking side being sent out as well. Bolo not spotting the yokai, coming closer and closer as the Jaws music amplifies. But now in the hallway, that's 4 for Bolo. Will he get the ace? Turning the corner.
Give it to him!
Bolo!
Let's go!
Give him the ace. Put it in the montage. TSM up 2-0.
Okay, so with that clip, we saw you actually go in and get an ace. Run me through that play. Like, what happened there?
So basically, we were gonna take from like I was gonna go office side with Jarvis, and Pojo was droning me through. Like we're gonna try to clear it as fast as possible. So Pojo was droning me, and Merc was droning up top. And while he's like droning like CC like security side over by lobby, and Blue, I was just sitting there, I was like, there's no barbed or goose in Blue, and I'm looking through Sunrise through the rotational. I'm like, yeah, I'm not really seeing anything here. So I told Pojo, I was like, I'm gonna do some rat stuff. just kind of crouch walk in. So I crouch walk in all the way to Sunrise couches, the rotational next to the window. And I was like, yeah, site's clear. There's a dude in here. I killed him. Site's clear. Come in here and plant Pojo. And he was just waiting outside a box, and he's like, all right. And just held it down from there.
It was really cool for the spectator as well, because the way that it worked is we, as the viewer, realized nobody was in there as well. It was really well done by the casters and the spectator. A lot of times I feel like stuff like that happens, and from your perspective, you see the opening, but we don't. But it was really cool how it married up there. So what were the comms like? Because it ended up, I mean, yeah, you got an ace there, but how many people were alive at the end of the round on your team? It kind of like came back. They tried to bring it back, right? Like it was.
I think it was like a 2v2.
Yes,
I think it was
yes.
a 2 with Jarvis and I.
Yeah,
and he was like back lobby or something. Yeah.
So did you get the call on that final kill that he was coming through the rotate, like, or was that just game sense?
I heard him coming because I knew that there wasn't going to be one vibes, and I threw it. I think they caught it. I threw a drone. And I was basically just like, I threw the drone. I was like, all right, hey, Pojo, watch this drone while I'm sitting behind the bar. So he was watching that drone. And so I knew like I mainly had to focus on the door. So I put more of my attention towards that door. He came through. And then after that, I knew Jarvis was kind of back lobby. He had like more time to like, can I get to a better position? And then I just started watching the rotate, and he just kind of came into my crosshair.
And that's not the first ace you've had. You've had, I want to say 2 or 3 different aces in Pro League so far, right?
I don't know. I know
know
there was
you've
one
had at
against
least.
Rec.
Yeah, you've had at least two. You've had at least two.
There was one against Rec in the major quals, I think.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
that was
the
such
major
a
quals.
it was such a cool moment because I mean, obviously, it's a championship match. You're playing against Liquid, a great team, and NA has been kind of beat down here recently, So I'm
Yeah.
sitting there and I'm watching. I'm rooting for you guys like crazy, and the first map, which was Coastline, that map was crazy close. You guys going back and forth, and that moment was really cool. I'll probably never forget that, in all honesty. So it was really cool to get your perspective on that. I want to talk about the team a little bit here because I feel like you guys have an interesting mix of, some young gunners with, you, Merc, who's absolutely insane, played lights out at DreamHack Montreal as well. Achieved, which I know Achieved has been grinding for a while. He's been a while in Challenger League. He, definitely earned his stripes there. But then you've got the veterans now with Jarvis and Pojo. Can you talk a little bit about that chemistry there? Do you feel like that's a good recipe?
I think it definitely is because you have two like year one vets, like crazy vets, Pojo and Jar. So you have them, and then you have the really like newcomers. So we all like learn a little bit of stuff from each other, like just like the discipline aspect and like when to take gunfights. Like the gunners they tell what the OGs, I guess, to take the gunfights here and there. Like they'll see an opportunity, and then the OGs would tell us like, hey, chill, discipline. There's like with their comms and everything. It's just it's a really good, really good mix. And I gotcha put it like a perfect example with like the trident. Like the three tips being the three entries like Achieved, Merc, and myself, with Jarvis and Pojo like holding the spear, or like at the I guess the shaft of the spear. And then Gotcha would be the hand holding the spear. So it's definitely a good composition of just like disciplined, like strategic players with just aggro gunners.
Okay, so you mentioned Gotcha there real quick. He hasn't been with your team for very long, but obviously, you've had success with him so far. What has Gotcha brought to the team?
So when Pojo started playing, he started playing for like the major quals, like the second half or near the end of the major quals. So roughly like a month or so, like a whole month of just not having a coach. So somebody to like watch over every single player, seeing what everyone's doing at the same exact time, and just knowing what is wrong with like something, like if somebody's out of position, if somebody's making like a wrong mistake. Because if you don't have a coach there, the probability of that player like replaying that mistake is pretty high, because there's no one to like really call him out on it. So that, along with just like overall like strategy and like the analytical side, like doing research on the enemy team, seeing how their takes are, their like setups are, and to counter it is pretty huge. And Gotcha, a fantastic coach. He came in, he right from the get-go, like all right, I'm your guys' coach. Let's start doing stuff. Like he right like immediately just put us to work and was just preparing us for DreamHack, which was like a whole week of him being there.
It's kind of crazy to look at you guys right now. I mean, TSM is coming off of the DreamHack Montreal Championship. We talked about you guys bringing on Gotcha as a coach, which looks to be a great move. Jarvis looks like he's fitting in great. You guys obviously played so incredibly well there. But now we're getting ready to go back into the second half of Pro League Season 10, where you guys are, correct me if I'm wrong, tied for last place. And you're literally fighting to avoid relegation. So, first of all, what's clicking for you now? What clicked at DreamHack that wasn't clicking before? Is there anything you can put your finger on and be like, we're so much better here than we were?
I mean, it's definitely like the roles are definitely helping. Like, again, I'm on more of like an entry, so I'm feeling comfortable with that regard. Jarvis, again, like a really good player for comms. Like he's always going to be sitting there just watching and like just like relaying information to us. Like during DreamHack, it was just Achieved, Merc running around, and I would run around depending on where the enemies were. and it was just Jarvis, like Jarvis and Bojo the whole time, just giving us so much information, just like, oh, they're droning here, go this way, or like they're taking from here, they need help. There's 3 guys over here. It was just, it was insane. So like that, like the new comms with an extra, like a little bit more bump to a firepower, I guess, in a way. And again, coming off of a win, like the confidence is pretty high for BO1s and everything like that. So again, the confidence going into BO1s with Gacha, like our priority right now is just to work on our seeding in PL, because again, we don't want to go to the relegation spot.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you going to Japan for the season finals is probably impossible, but you've already qualified for the Invitational in 2020, which is a big deal. And certainly, you want to be in a spot where you don't have to worry about playing a Challenger League team to stay in Pro League for next season. That's probably the big focus. Talking about a little bit about the Challenger League teams, and we mentioned your team is a mixture of like young talent with the veterans. I've been thinking for a while, like I really feel like there's an up and coming generation of North American players that is going to really take the scene by storm, in my opinion. I think that you're like the cusp of that. You, Merc, obviously are 2 people that I look at and be like, obviously people, because of your YouTube, have been following you for a while. But if I'm being honest, I mean, I follow the scene pretty closely. I didn't know who Merc was a year ago. And that's no offense to him or whatever, but I'm wondering, where is the next Merc? Merc's a special player, like, don't get me wrong, but are there a lot of young players out there that are 16, 17 years old that you think are going to really challenge the status quo in North America?
I definitely think there's a pretty high probability, because there's like there's some underagers that are pretty good, like to throw some names out, Sweater, Yaga, those guys, like they're really good players. Like the underagers, there's a meme about the underagers, but the underagers at the same time are kind of a force to be reckoned with. Also, talking about the underagers, like unknown CL players at the same time, like underestimating is probably not the best thing to do, but we'll see. Time will tell.
Correct me if I'm wrong. The last 2 seasons, the Challenger League teams have both made it in. Correct? Am I right about that? I know last season, the Sonics and Luminosity were both the Challenger League teams last season.
Yeah. So I don't know about the one before that.
I think the one before that was this TSM roster, right? That was one of the teams that came in.
It was Accelerate. Yeah, it was Accelerate, and it was
I don't remember who the Elephant. But I think that does say something, that there is like a fresh wave of talent coming. And obviously Luminosity, I mean, they've kind of cooled off a little bit, but they took Pro League by storm coming in out of Challenger League. I mean,
definitely.
So I'm really optimistic about the future here of North America. I think we've got a good thing going, and you guys are obviously a great example of that. Just a couple more questions here and we'll get wrapped up. I wanted to ask, a little bit more about like the content creation side, because that's something I can relate with. And I just think like it had to have been really nerve wracking for you, like to try to like look at this and say, how am I going to judge this? So what's the priority for you? First of all, like if you've got a scrim going on, but yet you haven't put a video out for 2 weeks, does it weigh on you? Does it kind of like tug at you? Like, man, I need to be streaming. I need to be uploading more.
It definitely kind of it weighs on me, but no matter what, I prioritize Pro League, like 100%. Like if it's like, okay, I don't have a video like for like 2 weeks out. I haven't streamed in like 3-4 days, but we have a scrim. I'm definitely, gonna scrim. Like I'm definitely gonna prioritize Pro League over everything else, because I have 4 other people relying on me at all times, like, or 5, I guess, because the addition of Gacha, like I don't want to let them down, and I know at the same time, like the pro scene is very, very volatile. Like it's so, like if I start messing up, like if I start prioritizing content creation, YouTube streaming, then my teammates might get sick of it. That could affect my performance in Pro League as well. It's definitely just like 100% focus on Pro League. If I can get a video out, great. If I can stream, great. If not, unlucky.
Have you played much of Operation Ember Rise yet? Have you got to get in there and go after your champion rank?
I have a little bit. Yeah, I'm slowly getting into the grind. I'm like, I probably have like 15 hours in a ranked, maybe.
Okay. What do you
Yeah,
think? What do
15
you
hours
think?
in a ranked.
How are you enjoying it?
I'm enjoying it. I don't like the sudden changes, like the whole utility swap up, the new shields. I don't like that. I really don't like that. I think they should have just kept those new shields on Goyo and that's it. But I guess they really like those shields and they just swapped up a bunch of utility. Like Jaeger has bulletproof now, Meister has impacts, Smoke has shield. It's not very good personally. Like I don't appreciate it. And with every new patch, it feels like there's something wrong. Like, you know, guns kind of feel weird. It's definitely rough. Definitely rough. I'll leave it at that.
I've heard a lot of people kind of talking about that. I think it's kind of a weird timing. I don't know exactly what it is, but I feel like the Windows update has messed with a lot of people as well. Like there's something weird going on with that Windows update, and then the new season rolled out. It's kind of like the perfect storm for feeling a little bit different. But Pro League got delayed by a week. Hopefully everything's ironed out by the time that you guys start playing back up again. The last question I want to ask you here is. As far as your goals, like if we were to sit back down in a year from now, and I was to ask you, was the last year successful? What is that going to look like? Like what's it going to take for you to consider the next year a success for you?
Man, I don't know, because it's like I've been in PL for what 3 months, three or so months, and I feel as if like us as a team have already accomplished like quite a bit. Like we won DreamHack. We got like a big org, and we're doing good. And I mean, other than that, goals, like lift. I mean, we're going to Invitational, or most likely not going to Japan. So lift the hammer, the trophy at Invitational. That would be a pretty big goal. A year from now, and you ask me like, did you do the best you could? Like I would like to say yes. Like I would want to give a 110% into Pro League. Like I want to better myself as a player and just dominate.
Well, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to sit down with me. Hopefully to everybody watching, this makes up for the long absence of the Pro and Potato. I swear I'm gonna try and get back into this. It's been really cool to watch you, man. And it's time for me to make a confession, because we kind of made a joke about this earlier when you were talking about your history with Achieved. I think you were alluding to an old clip of Achieved playing against you in ranked and throwing out a accusation on you whenever you killed him. The first time I ever saw a Bolo clip, I don't even remember what it was. Somebody showed me a Bolo clip, and I was like, "That dude's hacking. He's got to be hacking." I guess I can't really blame Achieved, man. There were a lot of people that felt like that, and I don't think it wasn't anything like, I didn't like watch your stream and think that. It was just like I saw like a clip, and it just speaks to how nutty you are. So keep it going, man. Seriously, like I think
thank you.
I think that even people, even the other pros in NA are rooting for you. You can kind of tell. And you guys, as well as your teammates, just the TSM roster in general, are really exciting to watch, and I'm always tuning in, and I think you're really good for the scene. So thank you so much. As far as everybody watching, you're probably already subbed to Bolo on YouTube, but his YouTube link will be down in the description. You can go sub to him over there. He actually puts up highlights from your Pro League matches and stuff, like your perspectives and stuff. So it's actually really cool.
Yeah, every now and then, yeah.
It's not really something you get from other Pro League players very often at all. And also, I'll link your Twitter and your Twitch down there as well. I mean, you're one of the bigger Rainbow Six Siege streamers as well. So, guys, anybody watching, make sure you're following Bolo on all those social media platforms. Any last things you want to say here, as far as to the fans or anybody that's watching?
I mean, just thanks for the support. Thanks to TSM, just giving us a wonderful home, and just, man, I don't know. It's been a wild ride, and I hope to continue it as long as I can. And again, just the support is unreal. Thank you. Just thank you.
Well, I think that sums it up pretty well, man. And thanks again for your time. With that said, I'm going to sign off, and I'll see you guys on the next one.